Blessed day everyone, so this is my research proposal. So, at the end of 15 minutes of presentation, you are able to determine my research title, research aim, background of the study, the goal of the research, why do I need to conduct the title that I will be presenting later. Research paradigm, where we can identify the specific independent, dependent variables and the intervening variables. Then identifying statements of problem, we can also draw an hypothesis. From research problem, we can easily find out what research design and tools we are be using. Now let's proceed to research title. My research title is Instructional Competence and Challenges of Child Development Workers in La Trinidad Benguet. My research aim? The proposed research aims to determine the instructional competence and challenges of child development workers using various modalities under the new normal structure. Now let's proceed to the background of my study. Most studies conducted in the past underscored the need for the teachers to be always equipped with the knowledge and the skills to teach a subject. Bowang 2011 mentioned that it is clear and inevitable that quality of education depends on the teachers, especially that the task at hand has increased in complexity. We need teachers who are professionals or trained, who are culturally competent, talented, innovative, and creative problem solvers, skilled and critical thinkers, because early childhood is the foundation of education. Thereby, child development workers or teachers must be instructionally competent and courageous in facing challenges. Teachers' instructional competence provides pupils high achievement, and their own competence provides pupils high achievement and their own to grow professionally by Kaya 2002. It is that teachers' instructional competence plays much on the academic achievement of the learners. Generally, the strength of the educational system lies on the instructional leadership that promotes quality education given by the teachers and received by the learners ultimately is measured. Ogden and Germano-Ryu, 1991, pointed out that this is one of their most important notes. Instructions given by the teachers, which are very competent, play a key role in developing a high morale and high academic performance among learners. This study focused on the three domains of effective teaching that referred to the instructional competence, which are diversity of learners, curriculum and planning, assessing, and reporting. The researcher was challenged to know the level of competence in new normal instructional structure, effectiveness of the instructional delivery, and challenges they encountered. 57 child development workers in La Trinidad Benguet were selected in the quest for answers to the research queries of this study. This study hopes to help child development workers to examine their roles as 21st century teacher and for the professional development.
Conceptual framework. The DSWD sets standards for daycare centers, other ECCD centers and service providers for the children aged 0 to 5.11 years through Administrative Order Number 29, the Human Resource Development Educational Level of the Daycare Workers, and their qualifications. Instructional competence. A competent teacher is one who teaches or helps others achieve knowledge, skills, and attitudes, enjoys working with other people, and establishes a good relation with his students and supervisors, cannot effectively teach unless he behaves like an educated person, which implies having broad cultural interests, can speak and write effectively, is well informed on current affairs, and practices good citizenship daily, Aegis 2003. Instructional challenges. The beginning 5 years of teaching experiences for novice teachers normally function as a trial and error process, regardless of how novice teachers will face daunting tasks on coping with new roles and responsibilities due to transitioning from another field of work to a child development workers. They're struggling to translate what they have learned back in their respective programs and practicing it in school settings. Kakmak, 2013, on his analysis, mentioned that novice teachers were grappled with lack of experiences and confidences, and unable to manage their classroom, facing difficulty in knowing the best way to teach and suit with their students, and theoretically know how to evaluate students but incapable to practice it in reality. On the other hand, if a graduate of education who studied the background of the child and learned a lot of theory strategies, and yet they're still novice during the first to 5 years of experiences, how much more of child development workers who came from different jobs? Probably they will face more difficulties in their instructional competencies.
Let us now proceed on the gap. The researcher found that most of the literature review about instructional competency is all about the graduate of education. But how about child development workers handling 3 to 6 years old pupils within the designated barangay? Based on the respondents, most of them are not a graduate of teacher education. Then how they will prove their competencies? Smith 2017 mentioned that a changing economy and professionalization increased in education requirements for child care workers. While Marshall 2017 said it's also a good thing to encourage more education for child care providers, research shows that higher quality instructors lead to a better outcome for children. Filling the gap between child development workers' profile, even they are not a graduate of teacher education, they still have instructional competence and prepared because they acquired it maybe through training, seminar, and length of experience in services. Next is the paradigm of the study, which I have drawn from the research problems. Number 1, independent variable, is the instructional competence. For what specific instructional competence became the cause and leads to the effect of what level of competence of child development workers under the new normal instructional structure as a dependent variable. Number 1. And what extent of effectiveness of instructional delivering using various modalities as the second dependent variables. The second independent variable is the instructional challenges or difficulty, for what causes the teacher to have difficulties and have an effect of the degree of whatever difficulty or challenges encountered in delivering instruction using different modalities, including the intervening variables such as educational attainment, training attended, length in service. These are the hypothetical internal states that are used to explain in relationships between observed variables. Now let's proceed to the research problems. Number 1. What is the level of competence of the child development workers under the new normal instructional structure? Number 2. What is the difference in the level of competence of the child development workers under the new normal instructional structure when compared according to educational attainment, trainings attended, and length in service. Number 3. What is the extent of effectiveness of the instructional delivery using various modalities? 4. What is the difference in the extent of effectiveness of the instructional delivery using various modalities when compared according to educational attainment, trainings attended, and length in service? Number 5. What is the degree of difficulty encountered in delivering instruction using different modalities? 6. What is the difference in the degree of difficulty encountered in delivering instruction using different modalities when compared according to educational attainment, trainings attended, and length in service?
Hypothesis. There is a significant difference in the level of competence of the child development workers under the new normal instructional structure when compared according to educational attainment, trainings attended, and length in service. There is a significant difference in the extent of effectiveness of the instructional delivery using various modalities when compared according to educational attainment, trainings attended, and length in service. There is a significant difference in the degree of difficulty encountered in delivering instruction using different modalities when compared according to educational attainment, trainings attended, and length in service.
Now, let us proceed to the research design. The quantitative, descriptive, and comparative method design was used to the study focused on instructional competence and challenges of child development workers in the Trinidad Benguet. It basically generated data in accordance to the specific problems of this study through a questionnaire prepared by the researcher. Local of the study, the 57 child development workers were the respondents of this study in child development centers in Benguet, in the Trinidad Benguet. Data collection instrument. Questionnaires are the instrument refined by the researcher advisor, member of panels, and graduate school expert in research, then followed the administration of the questionnaire to the intended respondents. Respondents was provided with formal questions, then descriptions of the responses were made. The questionnaires having several parts, namely the first part are profile of the teacher, educational attainment, and length of service. The second it is the level of competence of the child development workers under the new normal instructional structure. The third part is the extent of effectiveness of the instructional delivery using various modalities. The fourth part is the degree of difficulty encountered in delivering instruction using different modalities. Data gathering procedure. Before the researcher will float the questionnaire to the child development workers, a letter of permission signed by the researcher's advisor was given and approved by the Municipal Social Workers Development President of the Trinidad Benguet. After the request was granted, copies of the questionnaire with accompanying letters were distributed by the researcher. Then the data will be collected according to the set time between researchers, respondents. Treatment of data. Acquired data from the respondents were tallied and tabulated using percentage and weighted means. Analysis of variance was used to test the hypothesis formulated in the study. To determine the rejection or acceptance of the hypothesis, the t-test to tallied was used. It determined weight of the mean differences between and among the groups. The t-test is as follows. T students test. M mean minus theoretical value standard deviation divided by square root of variable set size. Listens before speaking. Thinks before acting. observes before indulging, and asks when in doubt. Thank you for watching. To God be the glory.